Eagles Entertainment.
Welcome, Eagles everywhere, to the Eagles Insider Podcast presented by Lincoln Financial Group. I'm Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro on this Thursday at the NovaCare Complex. A big week for the Philadelphia Eagles, bringing to terms and eventually signing to a one-year contract cornerback James Bradberry, a Pro Bowler in 2020, played 2 years with the Giants. Prior to that was with the Carolina Panthers. You know the story, and you know potentially the impact of James Bradberry in this defense. All of a sudden, the Eagles with Bradberry and Darius Slay as the on-paper starters on the outside at the cornerback positions. Avonte Maddox, who had such a fine year last year, in the slot. The Eagles really shoring up the defensive secondary with yet another outstanding offseason move. And I asked this question, best offseason you can remember since 2004? I understand 2011 and signing all those players and the quote-unquote, oh, Vince Young, where are you now? The dream team didn't work out for Philadelphia then. But remember, a lot of those moves came during training camp, and there was that work stoppage. I'm talking about the off-season. In 2004, the Eagles, who had been to NFC Championship game after NFC Championship game after NFC Championship game, went out and traded for Terrell Owens, brought in Dhani Jones, missing pieces, Javon Kearse in free agency, missing pieces that led the Eagles to the NFC Championship win and a place in the Super Bowl 39 against the New England Patriots. That one and this one really feel, I'm not saying, don't put words in my mouth, I'm just saying that what an offseason for the Eagles. Hassan Reddick, Kaiser White, Zach Pascal in free agency. And then the Eagles go into the draft and make the big, bold moves, selecting Jordan Davis in round one, trading for A.J. Brown, and then selecting Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean, etc. Everybody feeling really good about the team after the draft, acknowledging that there were still some areas that could be addressed. Well, Howie Roseman addressed that this week with the one-year edition of James Bradberry, who next week will be introduced to the media. We'll have an exclusive interview with him right here on the Eagles Insider Podcast. So stay tuned for that. Wanted to go in a different direction today with this podcast. And, you know, it's just interesting. We hear about the legend of Jeff Stoutland, and we live it here in the building, and we know what a high energy, just a gregarious, dedicated person he is to the craft of offensive line. And he's arguably the best in the business, right? I mean, the Eagles have been blessed for many years with outstanding offensive line coaches, Juan Castillo, Howard Mudd, Jeff Stoutland. This is something special. And I wanted to find out what exactly makes Stoutland tick, what makes him so good, so relatable to the players. I mean, literally every single player who comes through here is a better football player, in large part because of what Jeff Stoutland does. So I figured a great source, former Eagles offensive guard, a Pro Bowler for 3 straight seasons, just retired, Brandon Brooks. Caught up with Brandon, and we had the conversation about Jeff Stoutland. And it is very revealing. So let's do it right now. Brandon Brooks talking about, well, retirement, number one, and then the genius of Jeff Stoutland.
Brandon Brooks, first of all, I just want to say hello and hope retirement is treating you well. Everything good?
Yeah, everything is good. Once I retired, just, did a little traveling and kind of just been, hanging out. And then, I'm going to start school over at Wharton in September with the NBA. So, just, I guess, transitioning over to, just being a regular person now. So.
Been a long time for you, right? Like forever. It's always been getting ready for the next football season.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the first time in my life where it's like, no OTAs, no training camp, no, I don't want to say no structure, but, everything was so structured out with football. So, yeah, it's just, getting adjusted to that, but, life is good.
Good, man, good. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about Jeff Stoutland. And, the Eagles used a second-round draft pick on Cam Jurgens, an offensive lineman, a center guard. And it made me think, again, we're going to see Stout work his magic. And I feel like every single player that Stout's ever worked with has gotten better. And I wonder how he gets players ready for his way. You came here in 2016. When you were with Houston, Mike Devlin was your offensive line coach. What is the transition like, Brandon? Like, do you have to learn a whole new way of doing things? What's the secret sauce here for Jeff Stoutland?
Yeah, so, when I was in Houston, my first coach was John Benton, and I was extremely fortunate to have him really show me the ropes. And coming in for me, it's like, it's just a different way of doing anything. And I always say, like, to young guys, just come in, as a blank slate, find somebody who's doing it at a high level, and really try to, be a sponge, soak up as much as you can, and go from there. So I was fortunate enough to have older guys where, I was able to do that. But, it's a new language, right? New terminology. The playbook is so much more, I guess you could say vast, right? So in college, you can have, 20, 30 plays, but in the pros, it's so much more. There's so many more adjustments. Things are a lot quicker. There's a lot more, disguising as far as coverages, especially like from the center position. That's why I always gave, Kelsey so much credit. For him to be able to do what he's doing, not just, getting us lined up as an offensive line, but seeing the safety rotation, making basically almost route adjustments, like, with Jalen help him out too. Like, it's so much going on. And so, it's a new language. It's a much bigger playbook. You're making, decisions a little bit faster. Disguises are that much, better at the pro level. And, it's going to take some time to adjust. But there's a lot of, great guys in the room. Lane and, Landon coming into his own, Kelsey, Jordan doing his thing. So, he'll be around guys who, have had success and are having success. And, we'll learn from those guys. And, Kelsey gave his stamp, right? So, obviously, we know Kelsey, knows what he's doing, has done it at a high level for, forever. And so having a guy, like Kelsey under his wing, there's no one better doing it, right? So you couldn't, be in a better position from that standpoint. And then, talk about Stout, the greatest thing about Stout is, he's much more than a coach. He's a teacher. And however you learn, he will figure it out and get through to you. So some guys, learn from a visual standpoint, right? Get on the chalkboard, if this happens, what do you do here? Some guys learn, on the field. And I was a guy that I had to do, like, repetitions, through it. And so, like, me and Stout, we would get, like, trash cans before practice, lined up like a defense. And we would literally walk through, the plays or whatever I was having trouble with as far as, understanding what was going on. And so not only would Stout do that, but if a guy wanted to stay, after practice to get some extra in, Stout's there to make sure it happened. We would meet at 7:30 or 8. Stout would be there at 6 a.m. with guys, just going over the playbook. Even when we would be going over film, I think as an older guy, you get to, like, I've heard and seen this stuff so many times. Why is he going over this? But at the same time, I think Stout was more or less understanding where, it's, and we spoke about this. It's the old Bruce Lee quote, right? Where it's like, I fear not the man that, practices 10,000 kicks one time, but the guy who practices, one kick 10,000 times. And for Stout, it's the 10,000 times, like, rule. And so he's constantly going over the same thing year after year, day after day. And Stout would always say, like, yeah, you're not going to tire me out. And he's 100% right, and I love him for that, right? That's what makes him great. So I think all that together, it's going to be it's definite. But, again, you got great guys in the room. You got the best O-line coach in the league. I'm looking forward to, him coming in and doing his thing, having a lot of success.
Brandon, when you came here, like, were you aware of Stout and his methods, or was it all new to you?
Yeah, it was all new to me. But the thing is, Stout's reputation has always preceded him. So, I heard about Stout, but when I got here, it was just like, you got Kelsey, you got Lane, you got JP. Obviously, he's doing something right. And so when I got here, I just, put my trust and faith in him. And I mean, you saw what he did for me. So
if you weren't okay, so I guess let's say you wanted to learn or felt that you would learn better, not by the visual, not by the repetitions, not by the trash cans, but you were more of like a classroom learner. Does Stout adjust to that also? Like, it's kind of an individual player-by-player basis that he tries to bring out the best in you?
Yeah. I probably should have explained that a little bit better. But, so the classroom part, right? So I would say, like, Kelsey, Isaac, like, Wiz when he was here, like, real, like, cerebral guys. And so, like, it's a lot of, stuff on the chalkboard and whiteboard and different scenarios. And it's really like chess. It's really high-level football, Stout can, dig into and relate, the guys, a little bit more on that level, for them. But, I mean, however you learn it or however he can get it across to you, he can make that happen. So, again, for me, it was like the trash cans. I need to walk through it. For other guys, if it's the whiteboard thing and, that's how you learn. Like he can make that happen too. So, again, that's why I said one of the best things about Stout is really the fact that however you learn, like he can get it across to you. Like he can conform it to what you need.
Amazing. How about the footwork and the hand placement and the technical stuff? Is it a lot different than what you had done in Houston?
There's different ways, and when I was in Houston, we ran a little bbit, more zone. So some of the blocking things were, more fit for that. But coming here as far as the double teams, like the way he wants to do it, it was foreign to me. But again, coming here, I seen he had players who already had success. So just putting my trust and faith in it, like, well, obviously he knows what he's doing. So let me try it his way and go from there. And I also say, he's a stickler, for technique. It doesn't matter, how many accolades you have or how great you are. He's still gonna, coach you hard, and I always really respected that about him.
Brandon, do guys revere him in that room? Does everybody just is he like the guru for everybody?
Oh yeah, I mean, look at where he's been, right? So you could go to Miami, you could go to Alabama, him coming here, everywhere he's been, like the offensive lines have been good. He's he's made great players. So at this point, like his resume is extremely extensive. Like he knows what he's doing. He's had success. He's had success at multiple places. He's he's the guru right now, man. He's the guy.
How does he keep it fun for you, if that's even possible for an offensive lineman? I know it's so much repetition. I'm always amazed when I watch practice and you guys go through this. It's like you're dancers. You go through the same steps day after day after day. How does he keep it lively and fun and keep everybody engaged?
Yeah, so, other than, like I said, being a stickler as a coach and, getting things through, he keeps it light just because, Stout, like, how do you not give 110% for a guy that gives you 200% every day? You know what I mean? Like, he loves the game. Like, whether it's 6 a.m., 6 p.m., like, he's the same guy. And so, he keeps it light by just being him, by having fun, by joking with the guys, but also, like, he cares, right? So it's funny, as I'm doing this right now, Sal actually called me this morning, like early this morning. I think it was like 6:30 or 7. And so, yeah, like, he's always checking in, like, hey, how you doing? He invites guys over, just to have barbecues. His family's involved. I mean, he keeps it light by, just being him. He's just a great guy. So it's never, I don't know, it's never like heavy in our room. I never felt that like while I was playing. Like it was always like, light. Like we took football seriously, obviously, but we kept it light. But it was, a good atmosphere. So
I love that quote. How do you not give 100% for somebody who's giving you 200% every day? I mean, if that's the relationship that a coach has with players, I don't think there can be any greater compliment, any greater relationship, right?
100%. I mean, and even been around Stout, right? I mean, Stout, I don't know if I've seen somebody love football more than Stout. I have been done it a long time. I mean, it's just every day, like it's sheer joy when he walks in. Like, and how do you not, again, give 100% where you watch him, you see him come in, you see the consistency, you see him coaching great players, you see him trying to help, younger players, you see him stepping up to vouch for a younger player when, cuts come around. You see, X, Y, and Z. Like you see, someone gives so much. Like you know what I mean? Like it's consistent. So, well,
will there be Brandon for Cam Jurgens, a rookie? Will there be a welcome to the Jeff Stoutland world of the NFL moment that he will experience? Was there one that you experienced?
Oh, for sure. Being a rookie is a unique experience. I'll say that it'll definitely, a welcome to the league moment with Stout for sure. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. I feel like it's going to be something along the lines of his voice being raised and Stout having all this. The amount of energy the guy has is absolutely incredible. I think it's awesome the way the players respond to him, and I can't remember a coach who always I feel like, and you tell me if you agree, he maximizes players' abilities.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Like I said earlier, whether it's how he teaches you, whether it's the techniques. I mean, wherever your game is weak, he can improve it, and wherever you're at, he can get you. He's that bridge to get you to where you want to be. And again, how do you, not give 100% when he's giving 200%? And again, you see it consistently. So, I mean, like I said, I look forward to, Cam coming in and doing his thing and, where he's at now. And, Kelsey, obviously vouching for him. He must have been a great player. I didn't, watch any tape or anything like that. But, where he's at now and, with Stoutland and great guys around, like I said, I'm looking forward to him having a bunch of success.
Brandon, thanks so much. And also just the fact that Stout's staying in touch with you, and it really does, I'm sure for you, cushion the blow. You're still part of the team. You're still part of, Stout's world. And I mean, in a lot of ways, I would imagine he's kind of like a father figure in a sense, given all the time he's invested in you and all the time you invested in him.
Yeah, for sure. Me and Stout's relationship and a lot of the relationships Stout has, like it's deeper than football. So, and whether it's me reaching out to him or him reaching out to me, it's a relationship where, for the rest of our lives, we'll be, connected. And again, it's deeper than football. And if you ever, needed me or his family ever needed me, and vice versa. That's always the case. So, for sure.
In this week's Extra Point, we are going to focus on the preseason. The Eagles have 3 preseason games. You know that. The schedule was released last week. A great schedule. Starts September 11th in Detroit. 5 primetime games. super fun season ahead. The preseason begins on August 12th, home game against the Jets, and then the Eagles at the Cleveland Browns on the 21st. And then the 27th, the preseason concludes, a Saturday night game at Miami. The Eagles will go down there a few days early and take part in joint practices. It's a common practice now, pun intended, in the NFL. Eagles did it last year with the Patriots coming to Philadelphia and the Eagles going to the Jets. So maybe you see that this year a couple of times, Eagles getting on the road and doing some joint practices before the preseason games. Well, we know one of those, Miami, the week of, Saturday, 8/27, August 27th. The preseason ends. The Eagles will be down there all week practicing in that heat and humidity against the Miami Dolphins, prepping for that regular season opener against the Detroit Lions. And that is this episode's Extra Point. That will do it for this episode of the Eagles Insider Podcast presented by Lincoln Financial Group. Big weekend for the Eagles. If you haven't already and you want to, please join us at the Eagles Autism Challenge on Saturday. Early in the morning it begins at Lincoln Financial Field. It is for a great cause. We heard Ryan Hammond last week talking about it. $15 million raised to fight autism. So join us, the entire organization taking part this weekend. I'm Dave Spadaro. Thanks for joining me here on the Eagles Insider Podcast, presented by Lincoln Financial Group. Have yourselves a great Eagles day. Fly, Eagles, fly. And go Birds!